So there's a lot of shit going on. But before we get into that, I want to take a second and say RIP to Alton Sterling. That was a real unfortunate situation that occurred. Justice for the family and my condolences to the family and everybody that knew him. Okay, so let's get into this video. This video is going to be about the state of YouTube. Okay, apparently sometimes you have to tell people something. And with people getting to know me, I'm going to tell you something. I grew up in a bad neighborhood where there's a lot of gang violence, and you were either part of it or you were a victim of it. And with that being said, I'm not condoning anything, but I just want this to be very clear to everybody that when you grow up like that, under those conditions for many years, you may not leave that situation even when you get out of it without some of that bad programming in your brain. Now, with that being said, growing up in a bad environment full of my people, we tend to have a lot of hatred for one another because of the gang violence. Now, I'm not explaining this to anybody to try and say that I'm tough, but I'm trying to explain it to people to say why I'm at the place that I'm at now. I've realized that all of that conditioning was something that we never needed to learn in the first place. So I spent many of my last current years up until today advocating against it, taking my friends out of that, showing them a better way, telling them to go to school, telling them to get jobs, telling them to take care of their kids, be in their kids' lives, things of that nature. Now, when I came to YouTube for gaming, I noticed that a lot of the people, not all, but a lot of the people that do YouTube gaming, y'all are not from that cloth. A lot of y'all are actually too young to be from that cloth. And I'm not saying that that makes you any better or any worse than me, or I'm any worse than you or better than you. I'm not saying you're not real and I am. I'm not saying you're street or you ain't street, but I'm street, so you should listen to me. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that I'm proud of y'all, and that's a good thing. But what I'm also saying to y'all is, when you come in contact with those 1 out of every 100 people that are really from that era or from that scenario, they may handle things differently. And you have to understand that when you deal with somebody like that, that maybe, just maybe, you have to accept that you don't know that person or how that person operates. Now, generally, a lot of YouTubers tend to go with the distrust for somebody that comes from a wild background. If you've seen Game of Thrones, that would be considered a wildling, right? That's fine, that's cool. And I know a lot of y'all don't get what I'm saying, but this is particularly making this video for a reason, because some things occurred and I felt like I needed to put that out there. Now, I don't judge people based off their words. I judge people based off their actions. If you say something that I deem disrespectful, I'm not going to come immediately and come at you. I'm not going to try to attack you, but I will let you know that I didn't agree with what you said. Now, what happens next is on you. If you decide to go with the tough guy routine, then immediately I'm going to revert back to my street life and I'm going to be behaving in that kind of manner because you triggered that by initially starting to come at me that way, okay? So with that being said, I just want to say that you don't got to understand a dude from the streets, but you got to understand what being a man is about. And if you're going to be a man, then understand that not all men are the same. Just because you think you know or don't know somebody doesn't mean that that gives you the right to think that you're better than them because of the amount of subscribers you have, how many Twitter followers you have, how many Instagram followers you have. Those numbers matter to the internet, not to a person who's standing in front of you, not to a person who's going to see you, not to a person who's going to be at the same events as you. So sometimes you do have to take accountability for the way you act and the things that you say. And sometimes that can lead to a greater understanding, or sometimes it can lead to a not so good understanding. Now I'm going to talk about a situation that occurred where I bumped into some YouTubers and they were very, very cool. And I was glad that I bumped into them. And I was glad I got to the place that I'm at where we're actually speaking. We have each other's phone numbers, and that's great. That's a great thing. It's not about where we're from. It's not about how tough you are, how many subscribers you have. None of that shit matters. Because at the end of the day, you could have 1 million subscribers and still be living in your mother's basement. So if you want to judge a man by a number, judge him by the number in his bank account. And with that being said, that's it. That social media shit is cool, but it doesn't make you better than anybody else. Nobody gets the right to be better than you just because they have more followers than you. They get the right to have more influence than you. Doesn't mean that when you see that person, they can act like the amount of subscribers they have is going to stop them from saying something crazy and getting checked for it. It's that simple. Now, of course, at the end of the day, two men should be able to be a man and speak on an issue, and that be the end of it. But like I said, once you initially cross that road with a person who's from the streets, you have to realize you're dealing with somebody that you may never ever be able to come back from once you cross that road with them. Now, I'm not saying this goes for me, but I just felt like making a video to explain to you bigger YouTubers because, you know, my family has been known for doing a lot of things, and I'm not going to get into too much details on it, but the bottom line is this. If you dangle steak in front of a lion, do not be surprised when, for dangling steak in front of the lion, teasing the lion with the steak, you get your fingers cut off or bit when he bites for the steak. That's the whole point I'm trying to make here. So stop acting like you're the victim or people are targeting you because of your social media presence, because sometimes that means nothing. I know people with a whole lot more subscribers than some of the people in this gaming YouTube community, and they do not act like that. And I see them every day. I work with them, and we are treated like peers and equals. It's not a thing where people think somebody's better than somebody, because that is exactly what goes on in the African American crumb side of YouTube. Okay. And I wanted to make this video to talk about it because people are really ridiculous. And I feel like, you know, you just got to be careful out there and realize that not everybody is the same. And just because you think your subscriber count makes you not equal, that's the same thing for the street credibility. So you have to pick a side, pick a struggle. You either going to play with something or you ain't. You either going to respect something or you ain't. Just remember, one thing you can never not respect is a real man. It's your boy Jimmybgaming. I'm out of here. And good luck to everybody out there living that life and not understanding what's going on. And remember, if you judge a man by the number, judge him by the number in his bank account. Have a good one. Peace.